I mean, I could listen to everyone who's talked so far. I could just kind of listen for hours and then we'd be here until next week, but we do have a schedule, so that's why. Welcome to session 6 of the day. This is all about India Rising and the exciting work that is going on in India. In 2021, the government of India's Food Standards and Safety Authority, so that's the FSSAI, launched the Eat Smart Cities Challenge. Through this initiative, India became one of the first countries in the world to put healthier, sustainable food policy at the heart of their urban policy agenda. That is very cool. During this session, we have Ms. Inoshi Sharma, the Executive Director of the FSSAI, who will talk about the Eat Right India initiative, which actually became a finalist for the Rockefeller Foundation's Food Vision Prize and the Eat Smart Cities Challenge. And then we have representatives from the winning cities, Chandigarh, Panaji and Ujjain, and they will talk about their food action plans to fulfill the vision of an India where safe, healthy and sustainable diets improve the health and well-being of all the inhabitants. So, Ms. Inoshi Sharma, please come on stage. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before I start off, because we've had a wonderful introduction with the work that we've been doing in India, I have a very small video to show to all of you. Could we just have that, please?
In 2015, the Eat Right India movement with its food systems approach has come to life. It has both demand and supply side interventions and 3 key pillars: eat safe, eat healthy, and eat sustainable. On the supply side, quality is assured by setting standards and food businesses are regulated through a graded approach. On the demand side, food environments are transformed to provide for the right food. Farmers, scientists, and all stakeholders work in tandem. Governments and local authorities work together to support Eat Right India. A variety of tools like training, certification, and mass campaigns are used. Eat Right India's engage, excite, and enable strategy ensures the health of people and the planet.
So I just wanted to, give a little bit of a background that, being a food regulator, the most important work that we have to do is, of course, ensuring food safety, hygiene, following standards, giving licenses, and making sure that the food which is being provided is regularly checked. So obviously, you have a whole system of laboratories in place. But being a regulator has its limitations in a country with a huge population like we've got, a huge territorial distribution, and the varied climate conditions that we have being in the tropics. And that's exactly why we realized that if we want to ensure food which is safe and hygienic for people, it just can't be something that the government is doing. And it can't be just the responsibility of the food business operators or the people who are supplying food. It has to be based on a whole of society approach. And there has to be a food vision where we're not just talking to the consumers or just the food business operators, but we're talking to everybody. And we have food as a central piece of the conversation that we're having. So when we started off with the Eat Right India initiative, it was not a program which, just came up one fine day. It happened really, really gradually. What we realized was that once an individual leaves home, the space where you have of control over the food that you're having goes down. Because when you're traveling, you could be at the airport, you could be at the railway station, you could be in your office, you could be in your college, you could be in your school. When you're out of home, how do you have control over the food that you're having? How do you make sure that you have a choice of the kind of food that you're having and you're not just dependent on the food which is just available? So this choice that is there will come about only when we are having this conversation with the suppliers as well as with the consumers. There are certain statistics that I just wanted to share with you of exactly why we also wanted to come about. We're a country of about 1.3 billion people. Out of that, about 800 million people depend on the public distribution system in India, which means they depend for their carbohydrate requirements of rice or of wheat on the government. The other aspect is we've got about 4.6 million food business operators. Most of these food businesses are very small, so they may not necessarily be educated in terms of safety and hygiene. Then we also have a number of people, in fact 50% of the women and children who are anemic. So we have an issue of micronutrient malnutrition, we've got overnutrition. About 6 out of 10 people in India today have NCDs and deaths because of NCDs. Now these and about 100 million cases of foodborne illnesses happen. Now when you look at this entire parameter, you can't expect the government to reach out to every corner of the country at the same time, at the same level, do inspections round the clock. It's not possible. So you need to have some sort of a collaboration. And that's where the Eat Right India initiative came about, having a whole of government approach, not just the FSSAI, but various departments, women and child, education, health, what do you call it, MOFP? That's food processing industries, SMEs, small industries, all of them work together. And then on the whole of society approach, you have doctors, nutritionists, chefs, public health specialists, NGOs, anybody who's working with consumers and who can create this buzz about, eating healthy, eating food which is sustainable, eating food which is local. What we also realize today is we cannot challenge, we cannot beat, we cannot fight the multinational industry, which is already there in the food. The amount of money that they spend on campaigning, on advertisement, no government can ever do that. The only way we can do it is by having dialogues in settings where people are situated. Take, for instance, carbonated drinks. The amount of money that they pump in, can you imagine a country doing it? It probably crosses the GDP of that country itself. There's no way you can beat it. How do you make this conversation among people that if you're having food which is high in salt, fat, or sugar, you are bound to have NCDs sooner or later? So this kind of a conversation can only happen if a lot of people are engaged. So 2 years back, when the Food Foundation, in fact, reached out to FSSAI, it was like such a coincidence that we were thinking of ways in which we don't look at traditional mediums of reaching out to people. And that's when we realized that why don't we have a challenge? We have about 140 smart cities in India where the population is, say, more than 5 million. Let's identify those and let's have a challenge for the cities, give them a certain period of time and tell them which city develops its own food vision and in the next 6 months comes out with ways in which they can promote the Eat Right India initiatives, the concept of eating right, of eating local, of eating sustainable, of having a balanced diet. I mean, I don't know, a lot of you, of course, I find it amazing in Birmingham, and the lunch that we've had, where, you've been having this amazing food culture. Back home, if I were to, frankly, if I were to give that kind of food for lunch, people would laugh at me. They'd say, that kind of a food, you don't even eat food, that's not even food, it's just salad, it's just a lot of vegetables, it's just fruits. Where's the nice fried stuff? Where's all the yummy, delicious, gooey stuff? So, how do we change that narrative? How do we make people realize that what you're eating is not just what you are eating, it's also at the end of the day affecting the life of a farmer. Because if you're eating food which is grown locally, you are helping the farmers. And we've had this dialogue, but that interconnection somehow people don't make when they're living, particularly in cities. So in cities, it's more chic to go out and eat food which is probably not something which is indigenous, and if you ate indigenous food, it's not cool. So if I were to have my normal Indian vegetarian meal, which would have flat bread, a pulse, a vegetable, that's so boring. But if I were to say the same thing, so like I don't know, I mean, those people who are from India, they'll understand if I said I wanted to have aubergine, which we make it like a bharta with tomatoes and onions, my God, you're eating bharta. But if I were to say I'm having baba ganoush with pita bread, that's so cool. So why are we having this distinction between food? And that's exactly why certain food which people eat traditionally is looked down upon. It's frowned upon. It's no longer chic to have a certain form of flour in India. Why? Because it's so easily available, and you want to aspire to what people the upper classes of society are having, which is just wheat or which is just rice, and you forget the millets that you've been having, you forget the indigenous grains you've been having, and you stop growing it, and then it becomes extremely expensive, and you start growing something else. So what we eat also determines what we are demanding, also determines at the end of the day what the farmer is going to grow. And that's exactly when we had this challenge. We started off with something like 108 cities coming and picking up a lot of programs, which you'll just be hearing about, of how we can have this dialogue, this conversation about food, about safety, about hygiene, about nutrition, about a balanced diet, without restricting the work to one particular department or to one particular ministry, but having loads and loads of people, different organizations coming together and having this dialogue. So I'll stop here because we've got 4 cities from India who will be talking about what they did in the challenge, and I hope you all enjoy it. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Please join me on stage. Do we have Sudam Khade? Is he around?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, there we go. Great, fantastic. Thanks so much, Inoshi, for that. That was, it was so interesting because I like how you were saying that, it's not just the responsibility of governments or food businesses to create, sustainable and good food. It's actually everyone. You can't expect governments to sort of reach every corner of such a huge population, a huge country, to, deliver the same amount of resources in all these parts. And so that's why dialogues can only really take place in the places that people are situated, the cities. And also so interesting about the culture of food and how traditional foods are kind of not aspirational or not seen as that anymore. People want to eat more exotic foods, and so that affects the local economy, because if you're not eating the traditional foods, you're then not supporting the local farmer, and therefore you're not supporting the local economy, and so on. So thanks so much for that. That was a great introduction. I would love to, we've got the paparazzi out, excellent. I would love to introduce the panel that I have with me today, starting with Mr. Richard Luis Noronha. Richard is the designated officer in the Directorate of Food and Drugs Administration of Panaji. We've got Mr. Sukhwinder Singh, designated officer of Food Safety Administration in the Health Department of Chandigarh. And we also have, at the end, Mr. Sudam Khade, controller in Food and Drugs Administration and Commissioner of Food Safety for Ujjain city. Thank you so much for joining me. Wonderful to have you all on stage. Richard, I thought we'll start with you. So Panaji is the capital state of Goa, which we know to have a distinctive food culture. Has anyone been? Yeah, great food. A lot of Portuguese influences, a lot of seafood. Could you describe how you are promoting traditional foods as part of your Eat Smart Food strategy, as well as any other initiatives that are helping citizens to access nutritious foods?
Yes, so first of all, I would like to thank Food Foundation for giving us this opportunity to be here. Earlier in the day, in the morning, we spoke about how urbanization has had an effect on the lifestyle that we have. And due to this urbanization, people have got access to different kinds of food. We have better spending powers, and hence the whole food safety ecosystem has shifted from what our traditional foods are, and we've moved on to processed foods, foods that are high in salt, high in sugar, high in fat, and this has somehow become a lifestyle for us. So this is also in context of Panaji. As you see, we have moved ahead, and this has been a common habit. So if you just do a survey among our people, we find that they are more inclined towards these kinds of food which are easy to access. We have a fast-paced lifestyle, so they are more easy to access and quick to cook. So this has been a habit for us, and this is definitely a challenge. So what we thought is, when we had signed up for this challenge, we need to address this. And to do so, we sat down and we said that we have to do a lot of unlearning here, because people have learnt these, these unhealthy ways, and we have to do a lot of unlearning. So what we thought is, we have to take them all back to school. I mean, not literally back to school, but we thought that the first programs that we need to do is with the schools. Because here we are talking about changing the behavior. We're talking about changing the way we are looking at food. So we thought of having a lot of programs for schools. So that is the first step that we took. And we also got the support from the FSSAI, where the FSSAI has come out with a regulation for safe and balanced diet for school children. So with the help of this regulation, and of course the Eat Right School initiative, so we took these two initiatives and we implemented these two initiatives in Panjim. So this regulation gave us a legal backbone to do things. And there was a mandate to have a committee, a team, which will basically work on what is being served in our midday meals and will debate on the menu. So what we did is we constituted this committee, and we had a very diverse members. Like we had, of course, the education department, we had parents, we had nutrition experts, we had school principals, all of us together, and the food safety department. So in this committee, we did a review of the menu that we have, the midday meal menu that we have. And through this review, we also understood that the children were not liking what we were giving them. Of course, our midday meals were more towards the traditional food, but the way it was presented to them, that was a challenge. So we got the feedbacks from the parents. So we tried to rework on the menu. We took help from the nutrition experts to ensure that we're giving them a wholesome meal. And one strategy that we used was that we changed the names of the food items. I mean, the basic dish was the same, but we gave it a nice fancy name. Like if you're serving them,
it's
exactly.
a bit like Inoshi's example of the traditional aubergine dish, but then baba ganoush.
Baba ganoush, yeah. So we tried to give them a different name to make it more appealing, to make it more colorful. And this is the kind of approach we started, implementing, and it has taken us a long way. With this, we have also started a lot of interactive programs with the schools. We have prepared curriculums wherein we at least plan to do one activity a month with the schools, be it a poster design competition, a doodle drawing competition, all related to food safety, so that they are constantly reminded that, this is an important subject. So we have prepared a curriculum and we have given it to schools, and this particular exercise is being monitored by the department. So this is one part. The other part was, of course, some policy level decisions that we had to take. So I got good support from the council, the city council, and what we've also been able to achieve is, as a part of the Eat Right challenge and the Eat Right district challenge, food safety, which was not a subject that was spoken about, has come on the cards of the council, because the council would never talk about food safety. There are many other things to talk about. But because of this, the challenge, and now that we have signed the MUFPP, this has made food safety an important subject. So today the council is talking about these things. I know if we propose something to them, they take it seriously. So with this, we have got a lot of support from the council. The council has now approved of having market space where we will allow vendors to come in and serve local produce, promote organic foods. And of course, if we are talking about local food, we also have to give people access to this. So that is how we came up with this idea of having a market space and also giving some incentives. Like if any person wants to sell a local produce, then he has some incentive given to him in terms of a reduction in trade tax. So these are the kind of policies that we have come out with to promote these local foods. So that is the kind of support that we have got from the city council. Now, support from the sector, the food sector. So Goa has the Goa Culinary Forum. So we have some good, well-renowned chefs with us. So we sit with them and we also debate on how we can inculcate the local cuisine and try to put that on the menu in the restaurants. Because again, Goa is a tourist destination and we depend, our economy is based on tourism, so we depend on tourism. So we thought that not only our citizens, but also the tourists that visit Goa, they should also have access to healthy food. They should also get a flavor of our local food. So we have sat along with the Goa Culinary Forum, and we have the chefs community, and we've told them, we've impressed upon them the importance of having all these traditional food in the menu. And we also have a lot of promotional programs, like the FSSA again has started something called as the Eat Right Mela, a food festival. So many of my counterpart states have done it. So we also in Panjim, we organized the Eat Right Mela. So what is this Eat Right Mela? It's basically a food festival wherein all the food that is served is traditional, is healthy options, and we also had a huge wall of recipes being displayed. So I could see like our citizens going and taking snapshots. So recipes with millets, salads, and all our traditional food. So this is the kind of Eat Right Melas that we have started, walkathons, and we want this to be a yearly affair so that we are constantly, keeping our citizens upbeat with these things. The challenge here is that I would say it is easier to start off an initiative, but it is very difficult to sustain something for a long time. So I think the challenge is that if we start off something, we need to sustain this. We need to take this for not only 6 months, but we need to take this for a year, 2 years, till it becomes a habit. So sustaining things is a challenge, and I will draw maybe inspiration from the event here, which gives me motivation to do things. And it is important that I also pass on this motivation to the people down the line. And I think we all have to do that to keep people motivated. Like earlier, the speaker spoke about massive impact people. So, that hit me. Like, we have to be massive impact people, and we have to ensure that we are, constantly motivating, constantly learning. Otherwise, these things would just remain at the table. They would not be translated. So keeping all this in mind, I think we have put in efforts together to ensure that people not only get access to local food, but get access to food that is safe, that is healthy, that is wholesome, and that is sustainable. So that is how Panjim has been doing in the past 1 year or so.
Thank you so much. Thanks. Fantastic. Gosh. The Eat Right Festival sounds like somewhere I want to be.
Yes.
Traditional, healthy foods. Oh my God, it sounds amazing. And out of interest, when you change the names of the dishes in the schools, can you give an example? What was the traditional dish, and then what did you change it to that made it?
There is like a rice noodles that we make. Okay, we call it sevaiya, rice noodles. So we called it like some chicken hakka noodles, kind of a Chinese name. We gave it different names. So this rice sevaiya, we call it rice sevaiya. Then the kid would what is this like? So we gave it a very innovative name. Like idlis, we called it rice cakes with some vegetables or with some dates, fruits. So we have a whole menu. So we kept on changing the names, and we tried to make it more attractive. So we have this session where the teams that are engaged with us to prepare the food, they will prepare it, they will serve it to us, the committee will taste it, we'll see, we'll give it a feedback. So that is the kind of thing that we worked out.
I love that. It's also like a trick of restaurants, like to make the dishes sound more kind of exotic than it is.
In fact, I got the inspiration when I went to a high 5-star restaurant. There was a dish like mashed potatoes, encoded in a nice patty with this, and when they got it, it was samosa. So that way we got inspired from there.
So it shows the power of the language that is used. Thanks so much for that. Mr. Singh, so the city of Chandigarh, it is well known for being designed by French architect Corbusier, and it serves as a joint capital to the breadbasket of India, Punjab and Haryana. During the Eat Smart Challenge, Chandigarh received the highest marks for implementing food safety programs. Can you tell us a bit about how Chandigarh is transforming into a food-safe city?
Absolutely. Thank you for the Food Foundation for inviting us on this platform. Yes, we did a very hard work in bringing Chandigarh on the top position. Initially, what we observed that people are not aware of various kind of things, where they are not aware of the food, they are not aware about the nutrition value, they are not aware about what kind of food they supposed to eat. We did a survey in the whole of the city. We reached various institutions, schools, resident welfare associations, and even to the community people to know about the food they like. basically what quality of food they like and what they know about the nutrition value of the food in the city. So after that, we prepared a chart, we prepared a complete database of that, and then we involved various institutions. Like we involved educational institutions, those are working in the field of the food safety, those are into the research work under the food safety. Then we involved the catering institutes, those who are providing degrees to the students. So we make a group, a NetProfin chapter of Chandigarh. Basically, this is one of the initiatives of the FSSAE also to engage people, those who are into the field of the food safety. So it's a basically NetProfin chapter, network of professionals, those who are working in the field of the food safety. So we engage all these people. We share the data with that particular committee, and then we prepared a strategic plan how to implement various initiatives. As Madam Inoshi said, that under the Eat Right India movement, we have initiated various programs to promote eat healthy, eat safe, and eat sustainable. So the committee then decided that these types of programs are required to be made, to be done in the schools, in the educational institution with the RWAs, and we are also having a very beautiful mobile food testing lab. I think it is available with every state and mostly in every district also. So we are utilizing that mobile food testing lab in not only to basically the purpose of the mobile food testing lab is to test food article with the help of our rapid testing kits. So at a very nominal, even at the free of cost also, and at a very, very nominal prices. So what we did, we utilized that van not only for the purpose of testing of the food articles, we took that van at the rural areas, far past areas, and we started educating people about the various initiatives and how to check the food at a very simple method at their home also. So there is a lot of issues of the adulteration of the food also there in the country. So we guided them through that mobile food test system, how to test the food, what type of food is required, what is the good food for your health, how to check the nutritive value, how to check the labels. So there are so many educational programs we are providing that education through this mobile food testing. We are utilizing it in a very beautiful manner, and this mobile food testing van is having a very good equipment into it, very rapid testing kits included. We can instantly check milk within a 37 seconds, what type of parameters are there in the milk, whether it is adulterated, whether it is containing any hazardous chemical, whether it is how much water is added to it, how much protein is there. So this type of equipments are there. Even there is a beautiful instrument which can test your without opening a edible oil bottle, that can test whether the oil is pure or not. So these types of testing methods are available in that very one. With the help of that, we educate people at their doorstep. So they can easily come to know that what type of food is to be bought from the market. And if there is any instance they feel that somewhere the food is not selling, proper food is selling, somebody is selling adulterated food, so we give them the complaint number where they can raise a grievance to the department that this particular industry or this particular organization is selling unadulterated food. So this is one of the initiatives. Then we are promoting the organic food in the city. We have engaged basically the farmers around, as of now, we are engaged around 35 farmers. Those are into the organic food productions. So how we check them, basically there is a certification from government side, that is NPOP and PJ system. There is a certification which declares that this particular farmer or this particular person is doing an organic business. So what we do, we we basically engage all those who are having those particular certifications, and we engage all those 30 to 35 farmers. Basically in Chandigarh, we don't have an agricultural land, but in the neighboring state, there are agricultural land and there are farmers, those who are doing an organic practices. So we arranged for them in the city, we arranged a different location, weekly markets for them to promote the organic produce and to aware the public that yes, there is an availability of the organic produce also, and you can go for that. Basically other produce, they are not organic, they are basically some pesticide issues, some insecticide issues are there. So that's why we are arranging these types of market in the city. This is another thing. Then we also started one of the initiatives, that is Safe Food, Share Food initiative. Basically what we observed that in hotel industry and the catering industry and even in the basically marriages or functions, a lot of foods, surplus foods get wasted. people used to throw those food in the dustbin and all that. So what we did, we engaged one of the NGO along with the department. We associated one of the NGO in the department, and we called the meeting of all the hoteliers and restaurant peoples, and we now constituted a team. So, and we directed all the hotel industry and the restaurant people that they should put a proper refrigeration in their system, where whatever surplus food is being left over there in their organization, they have to save that food in that particular refrigeration, and thereafter they will call that NGO and they will distribute that food to the needy people. So basically, by doing so, there should be a proper control on the whatever surplus food is lying over there. If they directly give it to the NGO without checking the proper system, then they may get harm the people, those who are eating to it. So this safe food practice has been implemented in Chandigarh, and on every week, or mostly we are in association with these particular NGOs and the industry. We are supplying food to the needy people, those who are not getting food. So we are supplying those. This is one of the things. Then we are also initiated an hygiene rating program in the city. So under that hygiene rating program, basically the purpose of hygiene is to give the informed choice to the public, so that they can know this particular restaurant or this particular industry is selling a good food, hygienic food and safe food. So under hygiene rating program, what we did, this is one of the beautiful initiative of the FSSAI. So under this program, what we did, we engaged third-party hygiene rating auditors, and they used to visit that particular restaurant or that particular industry. They inspect that industry as per the parameters which are defined in our law, whatever the hygiene parameters are there, and on the basis of those parameters, they used to rate that industry, whether it is a 2-star rating or 3-star rating or 5-star rating. And that industry, whatever restaurant is there or institution is, they have to display that board outside their restaurant, so that people can know that that the 5-star rating, it means the food what is being served over there is prepared in a hygienic condition. This is one thing. Another thing is that basically if somebody is involving into they are providing a nutritional recipes to the people. So people can also know that this particular industry is into right food practices. So they are promoting the healthy food to the people. So these kind of initiatives we are into, and that's why on the basis of this we got position in this Eat Right challenge. So there are many other initiatives are there. So there's a huge list. Wow. If you keep on saying that, I think it will take 1.5 hours or more.
So basically, the crux of that story is find Mr. Singh after and find out what the long list of initiatives are, because that sounds fantastic. Round of applause, please, for Mr. Singh. Yeah. The mobile food testing lab sounds so cool. So is that going to households?
Yes.
And actually testing food within the house, that's in the house.
Within the vicinity of the society.
Right, to find out if what the people think they've bought is what, if they think
absolutely.
It's a certain
Basically, it is not the purpose that this is going to test the food article. We are extending the scope of that particular lab even to generating awareness to the public. Whatever initiatives are there, whether it is a safe food, shade food initiative, whether it is a nutritional initiative, what is related to the food fortification. So we are giving guidance to the public through this mobile food testing lab.
I also love the hygiene rating thing, because my dad, whenever I invite him out to dinner, the first thing he does is go online to check the hygiene rating.
Yes, absolutely.
And if it's not 5, he won't come. Yeah, he's got very high standards. So that's great to hear. Thank you so much. It's really interesting to hear what's happening in Chandigarh. And then over to Mr. Sudam Khade. So 500,000 pilgrims visit the city of Ujjain on a daily basis, which presents the city with a sort of endless food system challenge. Can you describe how you are transitioning towards a more sustainable food economy?
Thank you, Leyla. I would like to talk about the 4 cities because I represent the state of Madhya Pradesh. Ujjain is a very important city out of it. As already said, our mandate was to provide safe, healthy and sustainable food. And let me tell you something about Ujjain. It is the place which is cultural capital of Madhya Pradesh, and it has every 16 years we have second largest human congregation in the world. Around 80 million people visit this place over a period of 1 month. and providing healthy and safety food these people, this horrendous task. The biggest strength of the system of this Eat Right Challenge is that we promote localization, we promote traditional things which are happening, we promote local habits which are already going on. Of course, the biggest challenge again is very unorganized sector of food business organizations, large number of small street vendors, but that is what we would like to do, accept the challenge and go ahead. And this has been done in all the 4 cities. More than 10,000 food business organizations have been registered. They have been trained. More than that, the most power of that Ujjain city comes only from the god, because there is a very famous temple of Mahakal, and people go for that temple. So we started with the temple itself. We started certification of the food which is offered to the god. With that Bhog certification, people started believing how it should be done. Then we did to the streets, we went to the campuses, went to the school. At the same time, since it is a collaborative as well as regulatory, we focused more on collaborative with the community participation, behavior change, as well as putting the things in regular curriculum at the university. There is one local university in Ujjain where we added one course of food safety and Eat Right Challenge and likewise areas, so that people and young kids had come forward and again train the people, build the capacities, and also nudge the people about the regulatory measures which are working on that. Obviously, this is the story of Ujjain. Basically, we have whole government approach. We have support from the district administration. All the departments, like what Inoshi Sharma has already said, all the departments working together, and whole community approach or whole society approach, in which not only the kids, but women, old age and young people, everybody is put into place so that needs of theirs can be taken care of. Similarly, we have nearby city of Indore, which is very close to Ujjain. Again, it is million plus city. Traditionally, Indore is a city which is known for very good food, especially street food, and people from all over India go to the Indore to eat food on the street. That is this specialty of it. And it is very famous place, Rajwada, that is basically a seat of the king in this nearby area. The people are since you might be heard about Indore. Indore is cleanest city over the 5 years regularly. And people again are very enthusiastic. You just put some campaign for them, they compete like anything. They take and own that system. That is the beauty of Ujjain. And this time the model for Ujjain was go to the family. We started Eat Right Family campaign. Instead of going for overall, we started from the family. And people, we have competition among the families to what families are eating, how hygiene is in the family, what type of the local food is used, what is nutritious value and all these things. And we had then competition among the families. Of course, we have campuses of that whole street of food there, which has been already certified. Similarly, we have third more city of Sagar, where we put one local app explaining what is Eat Right campus, what to do, what not to do, what is nutritious value, how to use local things. And people used very simple creatures and this one. One more city of Jabalpur. My colleagues have come over from the city, and they have basically put all these campaigns for basic behavioral change. IEC communication use of social media. Like this, they have put small mascot of fit big bro. This put because people say that if you are fit, people respect you, and that is what in many times, because what young generation sees, they follow it. And very important role of smart cities. Why smart cities are focused? Because especially Madhya Pradesh, more than 50% population resides in countryside, and they do visit the cities, smart cities, and they see, they imitate and do. When we go to the village, then do the same thing. Then this is the best thing and best niche to have this approach to start from the city, so that people come, learn, and take away the message when they go to their home, to what is the eat. And basically, one of the component of this Eat Right was empowerment. People should not feel frowned about what you eat. When you come to know that in the local millet is being used with different types of foods, what ma'am has already told and my colleague has already told, with different names and different delicious dishes, then people are more than happy to accept it and empower themselves. Because probably status symbol associated with fad foods is probably killed our systems and traditions. And we are trying to restoring it because Madhya Pradesh is very, very large and vast state. There are many states within the state and they have different food habits. If you kill all these food habits or monetize, make uniform food habits, probably we are having paradox of obesity as well as malnutrition. To cut that short and just to make the thing simple, we promoted what is local available food, what are dishes, and as you know, everything in India and especially Madhya Pradesh, if anything good, even bad happens, come to the food again. If you have marriage, at least thousands of people will eat together. If you have something, give the party, 500 people will come together. When people die, then also 100,000 people come together. That's how it comes to the food itself. That's why when that is traditional food. It is not that which is coming from the caters and everything. And people love to have that food. Though whenever such types of food festivals and things are coming, we try to every part of that, every facet of these festivals with Eat Right campaigns and nudging with behavior science. In future, probably we'll go for, as I also handle the charge of health department. So we have one scheme of Ayushman Bharat, that is Healthy and Long Life program for India, and through which we have health and wellness centers for 10,000 population. For every 10,000 population, one of the mandate for health and wellness centers is to have healthy and health as well as wellness for the people. One of the component, very important component, because disease burden has been changed from communicable diseases to the non-communicable diseases. And major role is to prevent NCDs, because burden is again more than 70% Indian population also, not far different from developed countries and Western countries. So one of the thing is we go for yoga. We go for what is important, nutritious, good food. We have Anganwadis, midday meal program for schools, largest community kitchens in cities, because one of the areas we touched upon was the community kitchens in the cities. We provide centralized food to all the schools which is hot cooked. And we monitor that source so that healthy, nutritious food camp and what is micronutrient deficiency will be mitigated through this food. We have so many community kitchens in this cities, we monitor them. It is religious and non-religious. We touch upon every point of this one. And more than that, which is very important component in Madhya Pradesh, is at the same time to provide a safe food, because if it is not safe, it is not a food, because it becomes a poison. We launched one very big campaign, Freedom from Adulteration. And that was top-down approach. Chief Minister himself monitored every month about this so that we can have very sustainable, safe food campaign coming over more than 2 years. And that's political commitment is one of the biggest role which is played for sustaining this campaign. And probably with health and wellness centers, which are basically connecting from agriculture to the health. And we have many good traditions, like when we have prayers before schools and everything. One of the sentence in our prayers is that it is not just gastric filling, but you understand what are the efforts behind whole food coming to you right from the food, right from the farm. You have to, every time you have to be grateful about that food, so that people will not waste the thing, they will enjoy the food and they share the things. This is what our traditional, we are using both the things, modern things like social media, traditional approaches, and reviving the old system at the safety, sustainable and healthy food. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's great to hear a little bit about the 4 cities and what's going on there. And again, we're hearing about, trying to get back to promoting the local food that is sustainable and traditional, and changing that mindset of what food represents a social status or not. And also I'm loving hearing about the Eat Right app That's cool. I love that kind of technology. We've got about 1 or 2 minutes left, and Ms. Inoshi, I was wondering if I could end with you. I know you've sat back down, but you do still have your mic on. Great. I just wanted to ask you a final question about the work going on in India. So there are 4,000 cities in India. My question is, and if you could keep it to 1 or 2 minutes, that would be great. How will the Eat Smart Cities challenge be scaled up?
Oh, that's exactly what, we are planning to do this year. In fact, the 11 finalists, the very purpose of this challenge was that if you can have 11 finalists and showcase the work that they've done and tell cities what the best practice has been and how easy it is, in fact, to replicate, because a lot of times cities have this question of, funding, about resources, about manpower, because a lot of cities may face issues on these, these points. So when you tell them that how you actually don't just rely on the government resources or on the government manpower, but you actually look for people in the community who are ready to work with you. And what are the small little steps that you can take to bring about that change, to bring about that, almost like a civil revolution in that particular district or in that city. It's so much more doable. So we were, in fact, for the districts at least, not for the cities, because the districts are slightly smaller than the cities. We've already launched another challenge, which is going on for another 6 months. But for the cities, it's again something that we would be, working again this year. And we hope to scale it up to all cities across the country.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Please give a round of applause to the India Rising panel.